Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about 5 books that I recommend you reading. Once I compiled the list though, I kind of realized that 4 out of the 5 are kind of sad. And I'm sorry. I go through like stages of books that I like to read, so I guess I was in the sad stage. I don't know, sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm really into like the romance and the Nicholas Sparks books, and sometimes I'm like Stephen King everything and so on and so forth. But I really like these books. I think they offer a lot of insight on things. So even though they are sad, they do talk about things that have happened or are historical fiction. They cover topics that I feel like we should know about, we should talk about, and are important. And even though they're sad or things that we may not want to really have in our lives in a sense, it does affect other people. Also, I only have one book that I actually can like hold and show you. I'm gonna put like pictures of it around here because I check out most of my books from the library. I don't really buy books. I wish I could. I wish I could support them, but I don't have the space for books. Right now, because we are in this pandemic, if you guys don't know already, you can check out ebooks from the library. Just type in your library card and just start searching. You can also rent magazines and movies and stuff like that. If you don't have a library card, I don't know about other counties. I'm sure they all do it, but LA County does offer you to get a library card online as well, so you can register for that. So just as a side note, if you're interested, if you're curious, if you want to check it out, I recommend it. It's great. Let's get into it. The first book is called Pretty Girls. It's by Karen Slaughter, and it's about 2 estranged sisters who have gone through things in their lives. They used to have a 3rd sister who got murdered when they were, I think when they were teenagers and kids or something like that. And they just kind of fell apart. They, you know, when awful things happen, it's possible for people to either get closer or farther apart from each other. Everyone deals with loss in their own way. So this book talks about that, but basically an event happens in their lives that brings them together, and they basically try to find out what happened to their sister and how she got murdered and by whom. And it's a thriller. It's really good. It's a really quick, easy read. It's a page turner for sure. Now the disclaimer is there are graphic things that are described in this book. There is things like pornography and rape and just kind of deep, darker things like that. Murder, of course. So if that is not your cup of tea in terms of it being like a fictional book and it's not very historical, so you're kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to read that, then maybe you'd want to kind of skip over this. I know these topics can be very sensitive to people, where if you're just fascinated by things like this like I am, then it is a great, fabulous, quick, easy read. Highly recommend. The second book is called The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I love Kristen Hanna. I've read a couple of other books by her. She's a great author. Also a very easy read and quick page turner. And this covers a topic that I really love, which is World War II and the Holocaust. It's basically about when the Germans occupied France, and this girl Isabel, she decides she wants to join a resistance movement to sneak people out of the country and to help other people. I don't want to give too much away about this book because it is very exciting to find out all these things of who's who and who's working for who kind of thing. So, but that's basically the premise of it all. It is a historical fiction book, so although this exact story hasn't like happened, it is based on events and people and things like that. So I love historical fiction. I think it's a great way to kind of intertwine that imaginary fake aspect with real events and just kind of like, well, this could have happened. It is a beautiful story. It will definitely pull at your heartstrings. I'm pretty sure I cried like 3 times. But it's a really good book. I highly, highly recommend it. The next book is Night. It is by Elie Wiesel. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Elie Wiesel. And that's the one I actually have. It's this book right here. I read this book for the first time, I believe, freshman year of high school, and I could not put it down. We all had to read this book, and I remember it was like 20 minutes every class period we had to read it, and I'm like, this is not enough. I just want to keep reading. Like, it's such an easy read. It's like 100 pages. I could probably finish that in one sitting. It is an autobiography, so Elie Wiesel wrote this about his experience And it is also a World War II Holocaust book. It's his experience of being sent to Auschwitz and how he survived and everything that he needed to do that was necessary to survive, and his story. That's basically what it is. And he passed away a few years ago, but I love this book. I've read it maybe 3 or 4 times now. It is so good. Please read it. Honestly, I feel like this book is just so important. Even for right now, in times like this, when we think that someone is not as good as us, which is what led to the Holocaust to begin with, you know? And I think it's important because history repeats itself, and we need to be aware of our actions, our words, and how we act with other people, how we think about ourselves and about other people, and it's just very important. We don't want this to repeat itself. So I really wish more people would read books like this and talk about tolerance more. Anyway, I can go on and on about this because it is one of my absolute favorites, but I won't. So please read this one. Really, really good. It is sad, like I said with the other ones. It is sad. It is a bit graphic, but it's a true story. It's what happened. It's real, and I think we need to expose ourselves to things like this. The 4th book is called Still Alice by Lisa Genova. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, Lisa Genova. They made a movie with it not too long ago with Julianne Moore, which was a great movie. I love Julianne Moore. She's a fabulous actress. But I really recommend reading the book first and then watching the movie if you want. It's about a 50-year-old linguistic Harvard professor named Alice, and basically, you know, she's living this healthy lifestyle, she's teaching, she does all these conferences, and she's on one of her runs, and all of a sudden she can't remember like where she's going, where she's been, where she is, and basically she realized that she has issues with her memory, and I believe it's onset like Alzheimer's that she gets, or full-on Alzheimer's. I don't really quite remember if it's that or like dementia or something, but it has to do with her memory, and it's just about her struggle and how she's trying to have a sense of normalcy and try to remain as present and as focused and stuff as she can, and just her journey through it. And I don't know much about Alzheimer's or dementia, so even though this book is fiction, I still enjoyed reading it. I think it was a page turner as well. I really want to know what other tricks she was going to try to use to, you know, trigger her memories and trigger her thoughts and all that. And it talks about how this strong, bright woman just all of a sudden feels like she doesn't have any control in her life anymore, and how she's trying to overcome that. And that is to me, is a very strong and beautiful thing, because you never know what can change your life. It could flip upside down like this, and you know, you can't control it. There are just some things you can't control, unfortunately, as much as we want to. At least I do. Again, it's sad, especially if you know people who have Alzheimer's, dementia, or you know, you're close to somebody like that. Again, it may be a sensitive topic, but I think it's a really good read, and it's also a very quick, fast-paced book, in my opinion. And number 5, this one I talked about before in one of my favorites videos, I believe. It is The Joy Plan by Kaya Roman. And basically it's kind of like a self-help, self-care, self-growth, one of those aspect books. And I really enjoyed it. So this is a true story about Kaya, and she has a husband, a home, 2 kids, and she was running a business, and then all of a sudden it fails, and now she's lost, and she's, I believe, in like her 40s or something, and she's like either 30s or 40s, I don't really remember, and she's just like at a loss. She's like, I invested all this time, all this money, all this energy into this, and now I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm passionate for. And she was kind of beating herself up about it. And then one day she I think she wrote that she was talking to a friend, and the friend was like, you can choose to be happy. And she's like, huh? And so that's what she did. For 30 days, she did things that only made her happy. Now again, and she mentions this in her book, she did not work. She was blessed enough to have a husband that was able to provide for them, where she didn't have to work for those, like the 30 days that she decided to take. But the important lesson, like the foundation of it, is that you do things that only make you feel good as much as you can. You know, you don't have to go out and do things or attend parties that you don't want to. You don't have to do X, Y, and Z if you don't want to. If you don't feel like it's benefiting you as a person, it's not helping you grow. It's not helping you be in a positive state of mind. You don't have to do any of that. And basically when she started choosing to be happy and doing things that made her happy and feel good about herself, she noticed that good things, almost in a sense, came to her. Like all this positive energy and all these positive opportunities just came to her. All she had to do was then just take them, you know? But it's a really good read. I do want to reread it because it's one of those books that you read through and you're like, okay, I get it. And then the second time you go in and you're like, oh, this really hits home. And you know, you'll like highlight it or underline it. So I'm making a mission to buy this book because again, I rented it from the library, but now I want to own it so I can actually like go in and pencil things in. But I highly recommend that. So ending on a positive note. And that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you read one of these books. I hope it brings some sort of value, insight, something good, something you didn't know about into your life. And I hope you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.